achievement. The new frontier.
It's just a cough.
Yeah, right. And the Earth is flat.
In a few moments, you will have an experience which will seem completely real. It can be extremely harmful and result in severe trauma. You have 5 seconds to terminate this tape. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's
Hold on,
foolproof.
I know how we're different. Do you believe the Earth is flat?
I know it's flat. I walk on it.
Holy
Do you think the Earth is flat, Snoop? What do you think?
It's a flat world after all.
Smoke weed every day.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship currently at war with mainstream science. Meanwhile, the peanut gallery agrees with everything this show stands for. Like, there are no shills on Flat Earth. Welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Just Google Flat Earth Mark. If you can't find it, well, you're just not very good at the internet. Brian says my lips are off. That's all right. I will fix it. I swear. Currently, the show is on Tuesday nights, or I can hide my mouth, at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And yes, Carolina, if it is not January 14th, right? Yeah, 14th, 2025, then you're listening to a rerun. Don't forget the show can be found on BitChute and Brady, Rockfin, Rumble, and Spotify. YouTube is not the end of Flat Earth. It is only the beginning. Quote of the day goes exactly like this. When I applied my mind to know wisdom and to observe the labor that is done on earth, people getting no sleep day or night, and then I saw all that God has done. No one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. What is that? Courtesy of DJ Curious, that's Ecclesiastes 8:16.
Love it.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Up. Yeah, thank you. Well, I got to thank you for it. It really kind of I went back to it today. It's like, you know what? It's true. My co-host in the upper left, the always perfect Patricia Steere. In the upper right, the delightful DJ Curious. And in the lower right, special guest Stephen Alonzo, which we will get to shortly. Remember
welcome.
the best... Yes, welcome, Stephen. Remember, the best way to find other Flat Earth members like yourself is to get the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's cheap, it's easy, and you can use it to convert others into the great and powerful Flat Earth Army. Oh, so sleepy. And because it's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, it's time to say goodnight to one of our listeners, Paige. She just put on her banana splits pajamas, got a cup of cocoa with that's really tough to do down in Mexico, by the way. I don't think she can pull that off. With exactly 6 tiny marshmallows, we'll probably listen to the playback in the morning. Good night, Paige.
Good night, Paige.
Probably a Mexican hot chocolate, since she's in Mexico.
There you go.
Sounds good.
Yep. I can't imagine what's in it. Lots of stuff. Yeah, by the way, David and Paige are down in Mexico right now. They are snowbirds.
But David is in the chat, so.
Oh, he is?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Wonder if he's sober. Anyway, shout-outs to Flat Earther Stephen Carpenter, the Deftones. Support the Flat Earth cause. Get the coolest hoodies ever. Go to thestrong.family, won't you? Pick up some merch. You probably noticed the trailer. It's 2025. They're doing the North American tour. And so I'm going to be promoting it every chance I get. Not just because I'm getting backstage passes. No, it's not just because of that. Mailbag. Also, I got something in the mail today, which was really interesting. Hopefully you guys can see it. Well, we'll see. It's glurfs on ice. GLERFs. I got that in the mail.
No way.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's from
I
one
sent
of our.
that to you.
Who did?
I did.
Oh, you did? You sent this to
You
me
didn't
from
even know that. Yeah.
What?
That's
Why
my
did you
note.
put a note in there?
That's his doc.
Oh yeah,
That'd be a funny. I thought I'd tell you later that I didn't realize it would arrive that fast. That's wonderful to see. That's a nice surprise.
Wow, Steven, good timing.
Well, thank God, because I was going to ask. I was going, does anybody in chat room know who sent this to me? Yeah, it's from the Journal of
because it'd catch you off guard at first.
Yes, and it has the old score sheet of 12-3. You know, the 12 globalists. You're the only one out of sync. Well, then it's tough. There's nothing I can do. I'm the only one out of sync, so we're just gonna have to live with it. Everybody else is in sync. I will take the hits on this one. Oh yeah. So anyway, thank you for that. Very, very cool. I haven't put it in yet, but yeah, remember when it was supposed to be 12 globalists going and only 3 flat earthers, and then most of the globalists backed out? Oh, nobody talks about that.
Yep.
Whatever. Okay. That was the only thing I got in the mail. The meetups, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, here we go. Rattle them off really fast. There's going to be a meetup in Vegas, January 19th. That promo's on my channel. A meetup in Florida, also January 19th, with in-person Effie Disciple and Nathan Thompson. They will both be there. Meetup Southern New York, January 25th. Meetup West UK, January 28th. That's over in England. That'll be in-house will be Sven. Yeah, Sven, S-V-E-N, Sven. He'll be there. Meetup Minnesota, January 25th. That's back over here in the colonies. And, of course, January 26th at 1 p.m. at Bolton's Curbside Cookery. Yeah, that's in Mount Holly, North Carolina. I'm not going to be there, but it's going to be a Flat Earth meetup. So check that out if you want. Please support them. So, yeah, six Flat Earth meetups. Wow, Flat Earth's dead? No, it's not. It's not going anywhere.
I want one
24
of those
hours
burgers so
sun,
bad.
what?
I'm thinking about burgers. You guys are thinking about 24-hour sun. Ever since that Bolton commercial, I have to have one day. So
I know they're very, very good, and the people, all the extras in that commercial were paid in burgers. That was really, really awesome.
Oh, that is cool. I wonder if they make vegan ones, because a lot of burger places do, including.
I don't think they do.
Sometimes they have a frozen, burger. I don't eat.
Somebody find. I know, sacrilege. Somebody, nice way of spelling that, sarcilage.
Sarcilage.
Peanut.
I'm stealing that.
Sounds like a disease.
Sarcilage. I've never seen it spelled like that. That's awesome.
Sarcilage.
Sarcilage.
Sounds like a robot name too. Either one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay, all right. Sorry.
So if anybody in chat knows if Bolton's Curbside Cookery has a vegan option for their burgers, I'd love to know. Please put it in chat.
They get a burger. They get 2 buns, and they put lettuce and tomato in it and say, enjoy.
There you go. Yeah, or they just stare at you. It's like, get away from my food truck. Okay, before we bring on Steven, I don't know if there was anything else I had here in announcements. No, let's run the quick clip, which is going to be the official 60-second Nothing Gate, 60 seconds that'll change your life from last week. And people said they actually like this version better than the one I did last week. I don't know. Apparently they like me talking fast. I don't know. I don't think I talk fast. Do you think I talk fast? I don't think I talk fast. Let's see what happens when I hit this button. So my flat earth friends message me and say, Mark, you sure? Yes, it's time to shut up and move forward. There is no vape gate or mountain gate or snow gate or shadow gate or reverse vampire gate or half double decaffeinated half calf gate with a twist of lemon. How do I know? If it was my agency running this operation, it would have looked a lot different. There would have been a massive surge of media stories long before the team left and multiple media reps with them on the ice. There would have been a detailed group statement on video with Jaron, Austin, and Lisbeth, remember her, and then lots of mainstream media after the trip. Jaron would have been seen driving in a new BMW. He wasn't. Austin would have endorsements. He doesn't. And Lisbeth would have been on camera a lot because that's what you do with pretty internet girls. And guess what? She's under the radar. Everyone is trying to turn tiny things into a witch hunt and ignoring all the large things for some reason. Keep trolling if you want, but I can tell you as someone who's been through this madness more than a few times over the last decade, none of it is going to stick. Do your own research and find out why I say that there are no shills on flat earth. Whatever. I'm done. There you go. A couple quick things about that video. One, I don't think it was lost on you, Patricia, that when I mentioned the term witch hunt, the woman in the picture had long red hair.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was a little tip
For
of the
those
hat to you.
old timers who've been around for a while, they
Yep.
might remember the Patricia Steere witch hunt. But
Yep.
I
And
survived.
we'll get you back on
over the
cam. We'll hang on, Steve. Fix your camera. Oh my God.
Why is this camera freaking?
I have no idea why. You know what's gonna happen. We're gonna get him back down, and then he's gonna.
It could be
shrink
like
on you.
Alice in Wonderland taking, the different tablets to go bigger or smaller. Maybe we
I
are
don't
going down
know.
the rabbit hole.
I know. We'll look, if I have to fix them on the fly, it's totally fine. The other thing, again, the thing about nothing gate, because people mention in different chat things and comments, like, Mark, are you being sarcastic? It's like, no, I'm not being sarcastic. If this was an actual CIA operation, to where our guys were, and again, could they have been tricked? Yes, but my official stance has never changed, which is there are no shills on flat earth. The team is clean, right? Meaning, if it was an actual CIA op, it would have been completely different. All these guys wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. Jaron would be living in a new house. Austin wouldn't be scrambling around trying to do damage control. And by the way, Lisbeth would be on camera. If I was an agent, I would put her on camera immediately and have her just start talking around, just smiling. It's like, oh yeah, I saw the 24-hour sun. Flat Earth is dead. No one's seen her. So, and again,
she's been on Clubhouse and done a few pics on her
but
Instagram,
you know what I mean.
but nothing flat Earth related.
Yeah. So no, there are no shills on flat Earth. The team is clean.
Well, there might
Jaron's doing.
be one, maybe.
Not even one, really? I think we got to
think
say
there
there
might
could be one out there.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, and I've put this to people. And, I've put this to people. It's like,
He's very
I'll put it to,
flexible.
and I know you guys aren't going to probably say it on camera, but it's like, okay, fine. You think there's a shill? Give me a name. And give me some. If you want to spend real money on this, who are you going to bet that's a shill? I don't even think Eric Dubé is a shill. I don't.
Wow.
And this is coming from me. I have been accused, Patricia knows this, Peanut knows this, I have been accused of being everything at one point or another. I've been accused of being a CIA, NSA, FBI, Secret Service,
A
drone
woman,
pilot.
my favorite, a woman.
Yeah, drone
I knew Patricia was going
instructor.
to say that.
Three different studio executives from two different studios, and a large Jewish woman. I can't be all of these things, so you got to pick one, and nobody's willing to pick one. So if anybody again thinks there's an actual shill on, could there be a shill on flat Earth? Sure, but and you're saying, well, why would you think this? Because we don't have any breakouts. Find me a flat earther with even 500,000 subs. Find me a flat earther that's making some serious coin off monetization. Find me a flat earther that's living large, right? And they don't exist.
Okay, so we have a few jerks, but not shills in flat Earth.
Oh no, I can say it. This isn't a family show. Are there some assholes out there?
There you go.
Yeah, you bet. No play on words or channel name. Wink, wink. Right. But there are some people that aren't very nice. But you see that in every type of community. It doesn't matter what the genre is. If you're talking about people that go after movies or go after video games or go after anything, there's always going to be people that want to stir the pot. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But as far as people that are flipped, who are actual agents, and it's not me, that's why That's why I take personal offense to this. It's like, look, I've been getting called this stuff for years. Jaron does one little thing. It's like, oh no, he's flipped. He's compromised. It's like, really? Because I don't even think that. That's
well,
me.
he's gone geocentric, pretty much.
Fine.
But he
If
said he
wa-
won't be a, quote, glober and attack flat earthers. So
If he wants to hang out with Robertson Jenis and Bart Sabrell, more power to him. It still helps the cause. Even though Robertson Jenis and Bart Sabrell don't like us very much, they still further the agenda to a lesser degree. They still say that the Earth is the center of the universe, and there's a lot going on that's wrong, and there's a lot of stuff being hidden. So
this is an individual journey, and if that's where he wants to go and that's what he thinks is right for him, then okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
That's my little take on it. That was not a sarcastic video in any way, shape, or form. It was not supposed to be a joke. It wasn't even supposed to be that funny. If you pause on every frame, I was trying to overload you with all sorts of little messages. So, sorry, I'm not saying.
I got
and
the
next,
red-headed one. I thought that was nice.
You know what? I know what I was drawn to it. I was looking through all the different witch shots. It's like, that's the one. Patricia, I almost put your name on it. I was so close to put like your name like in block letters, but it's like, nah, people will get it. I think for the most part. Yes, I know. Peanut says this is what producers do. He's like, get to the guest. Stop screwing around.
Yeah,
all right, let's do that.
Patricia, would you like to introduce our fine guest this week?
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for the team. Our guest is Stephen Alonzo. He's a self-proclaimed flat Earth scientist. His channel is the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology, which he started in May of 2024. He's the creator of Flat Earth University at flatearth.university, where you can get the Flat Earth Firmament Trackers app and the Flat Earth Science textbook. He's made a final experiment documentary Mark held up earlier called Glurfs on Ice. Came out about 10 days ago. You can watch it on YouTube. It's about 2.5 hours long or so. He's lived in Belize for the past 5 years or so, after wanting to get away from the hustle and bustle and having to drive a long ways to and fro to work. And he's a software developer, enterprise development by trade. Of course, David Weiss has his app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, and we've had him here. He's in the chat. And Joseph Hanvey, who's also been here, has discussed and shown his ever-evolving model. And it's evolved since he was even here. There's more iterations of it on his channel. And since the AE map has been top of mind lately because of the TFE, it's loved and also disputed and hated, and many say debunked. It's been that way for quite a few years, especially now since the whole debacle in Antarctica. It's about time we see what Stephen Alonzo has to say about all of this. His model complements, not contradicts, these existing models from David Weiss and Joseph Hanvey. It's the same, but different. Welcome, Stephen Alonzo. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Yes, I have been up to a lot lately, and it's a pleasure to be on this show. I'm a big fan of Mark Sargent from the earlier days. I remember seeing him on the news, and that was one of my first kind of introductions to Mark. So it's a real pleasure to be on here. And as you said, right now with Flat Earth, there is so much going on, and my views are kind of different than a lot of other people's, but I really do believe, for example, that the entire trip was real, that the flat Earth model requires a 24-hour sun. And I try to teach my view more from the mathematical and scientific points. I want to argue why the flat Earth model requires a 24-hour sun, not just why I think it does. And as you mentioned, the Flat Earth Science textbook, I published my predictions in there, and the final experiment, I kind of played a part in that, representing flat Earth from, representing flat Earth from the mathematical side. So to have Will Duffy say my name live in Antarctica was a very special honor to win the challenges that he put out. Could someone present flat Earth math without having to do spherical trigonometry, for example? So there's a lot that I'm willing to discuss and cover. I have the Flat Earth University, the Firmament Trackers app, and yeah, thank you.
You did win all three of Duffy's TFE challenges, and that was pretty cool, actually. But he did say, as he was saying your name, that you're using globe. You know, he kind of tried to downplay it. What did you think about that?
So I also kept the clip of him rejecting the people who actually used globe math. So it's his opinion that I used globe math, but I made sure that everything would be public on my website. So if anyone is curious you're more than welcome to go to the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology's website, publications, search for TFE challenges 1 to 3. So my math is there, and I even have kind of pictures and diagrams to show why this works on flat Earth. A lot of the concepts that we all know, that flat reference angle, the latitude to Polaris is the angle of elevation, those 1-to-1 ratios of flat Earth concepts that I think everyone is used to. And then I combined it all into a very cohesive argument that was hard for Will to just refute it, because it's not globe math in the same way as someone just going to Stellarium and saying this is the sunrise and sunset.
Yes, well, it's so exciting to have you here because it seems like just in the nick of time, which a lot of people think is controversial, but you've been working on this for a while. How long have you been when did you come up with the Firmament Tracker app, and what got you started?
Yeah, so I started developing in April. So from April to November, maybe a 7-month period is how long it took me total to develop it. And the original inspiration was a group on Facebook. It's called the Firmament Trackers, and it was a lot of really intelligent people that, for example, they live in New Zealand and they see the sun setting in the south. So a lot of these concepts that may be surprising to a lot of people were just well known to us. Like, we already knew that the GP of the sun is not the actual sun. We knew that there was dome optics in play. So that's the branding of the Firmament Trackers. I wanted to name it after that group because we all shared the same beliefs, and this is how we believe the world worked.
How did you yourself come to the... Oh,
that's all right. I'll fix
sorry. How did you come to the realization about flat Earth in general? How long ago was that when all this hit you?
The first thing would have been the Elon Musk Tesla Roadster in space. I remember just being a normal person, not a self-identified glober, not a self-identified flat earther, just like a normal person, kind of like being first exposed to all of this. And I just watched it and I was like, well, this is obviously fake. That Tesla Roadster is not actually in space. But then I just thought, why would they fake it? Like, is he just trying to play a joke on us? But then to see everyone else's reaction to it, they insisted that it was real. Whereas I thought everyone would have known it was fake. Like, Elon Musk is playing a joke. Obviously, it looks fake. But no. And that kind of what set me off on this. I wanted to look further into why are they faking space. But that was 7 years ago. May not have been into flat Earth till maybe 5 years ago. And then within the last 2 years, I became confident enough to actually teach it. So to start telling people the arguments for why a solar eclipse works this way, why a lunar eclipse works this way. And over time, I just wanted to formalize the teaching. So you know how you have to repeat the same answer over and over and over again? A lot of those kind of stuff I saved into notes, and then I just put it all in the Flat Earth Science textbook. And then I wanted to make more of like an interactive way to teach people. So that's the Flat Earth University. I wanted to have an interactive way where people can learn, take quizzes, a lot of this stuff. So I first got into flat Earth 5 years ago and became confident enough to teach it 2 years ago.
It's very interesting that the Tesla Roadster in space is one of the things that started you waking up. Because I remember when it happened and I was talking with Mark about it, and I said, that thing is so incredibly fake. I would have expected the world to wake up, but they haven't. Well, you know what? You're proof that people did. Just like I was thinking about Behind the Curve, and perhaps that would cause everybody to continue being asleep about flat Earth. But no, people watched that, and some actually woke up, and one of them is DJ Curious. So we have two proofs of things that are weird and bad, and we look at them and give it thumbs down, but they ended up actually starting somebody on their journey. And that goes back to what Mark always says, that like all media is good when it comes to flat Earth, even if it's technically bad.
Metrics are metrics. I'm just saying, you know, Logan Paul is a perfect example of that. He generates nothing but ridiculous bad news, and yet he's everywhere.
I've got a question, Stephen, which is, you referred to yourself as a doctor a couple of times. Is this an honorary title? Yeah. And I don't mean that to be insulting at all, because we have people that use honorary titles all the time.
Yeah, so it's much like Professor Dave,
Right.
except I wanted to go one step further because I actually do teach at the Flat Earth University, but my real degrees are in computer science. I don't publish that too much because I don't want people harassing my institution and all that, but I am a computer scientist by profession, and then I identify as a flat Earth scientist. But that'd be an honorary degree.
Well, you know, these days you can identify as just about anything, so I'm all for it.
Isn't that the truth? Hey,
Yes,
I can't
thank
wait to
you.
be a student at the Flat Earth University, Flat Earth 101. I'll have my textbook ready to go, a little notepad, because I think, tell us what we can find in that course. Like, how would you break it down for us really quick?
Yeah, there's 2 courses right now, and they're both free to enroll. So FE 101 and FE 102. FE 101 is the introduction to flat Earth. It's something you can give anyone, and you'll get exposure to the map of how the world actually looks like in real life. You'll learn foundational concepts like, for example, Flat Earth Days app. Where is the sun? Why is the sun actually there? It's the ground position. It has a latitude and longitude, and you learn all those concepts that you at least know how it works, and it relates to concepts that are established science. None of this is too far out there, so it's safe for anyone to learn these foundational concepts. Now, FE 102 is where we get into a lot more stuff. I call FE 102 tracking the firmament. So I really do believe that we live on a Gleason map with a dome above us. And in tracking the firmament, we start doing measurements. We start, for example, looking at Polaris and then seeing another image with a different elevation angle and learning how far distance that would be. So an introduction to celestial navigation, for example, we learn a very complicated stuff. So both those are free to enroll, and there's assignments as well. So I think it's in FE 102, you go outside and you got to take pictures of the moon at different times, like an 8-hour difference, and you'll see how it rotates because it's above us, rotating essentially like a flat disk. You're trying to see this stuff with your own eyes to see that there is no spherical rotation of the moon, to see how it rotates as if it is just a clock going around the Earth. So there's assignments you'll submit to me. I'll grade them. The courses, there's quizzes that you have to have a passing grade. And I try to establish it around your real life university experience. So if any of you guys listening have ever done your first year of university, for me, it was Moodle that we had as our online platform. You go to the big lecture hall of like 1,000 people, and then a lot of your activities, assignments were all online. So I'm using a platform as well that I put together, and it's just as good, the exact same kind of, where you have quizzes, grades, assignments, and it's very powerful. So I encourage anyone to enroll for free. And then there's other courses as well that you can pay for, but the first 2 are completely entirely free, and you can eventually build up to becoming what I call the certified master of flat Earth theory. That's when you can argue all the different positions, such as the vibes of cosmos, plasma moon theory. Many of you might be familiar with the hypothesis that the moon ends up being a map of Earth. Whether you believe it or not, you should be able to argue it and understand the arguments for it. So I try to give everyone everything you would need to know about what I call the field of flat Earth science. And it truly is intersectional because, as you see from me being a software developer, I'm able to add so much to a field that I really never even knew of before the last 5 years.
This is amazing. I love your attention to detail. I feel like I can't wait to run home and show my mom my flat Earth report card.
And
that
there's
ought to
no,
get her good.
You do get a transcript.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Interesting. But there'll be no
I'll even
no frat parties.
you can't become certified.
Okay. See, this
Oh,
is
very
this
nice.
is legit.
And I'll give you a
No,
No, it really is. Like, I'm taking it serious. So there's a certificate number in the top. You can't just print this and pretend to be certified. You get like a digital verification, and it's a very serious program, and it's well worth it. There's even a mobile app, so you can take like the lectures and quizzes on your phone. It's very well put together, and it's fun. This is the best way to learn about flat Earth science.
That is really cool because a lot of people hear about it like today, and they weren't here in 2015 when modern day flat Earth started up, and they didn't see all the things that occurred and happened. I'm not talking about the gossip. That's a whole different course that somebody might want to offer because that was wild and still is. But when it comes to what's going on with all the different maps and models, to learn about all that on your own time, that would be pretty neat. There's lots of things I know I have missed, indeed. You did say, Stephen, that every flat Earth model predicts the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And many people are like, what? Huh? No. So can you explain that?
Yeah. So every flat Earth model does predict a 24-hour sun in the south, specifically past, I think it's 67 degrees of south latitude. Now, previous models, such as like the Flat Earth Pro app that many people are familiar with, the developed you from going past 60 degrees south. But I want to start with that first because many people live in the southern hemisphere, and even without flat Earth models, we already knew what would happen in Chile and Argentina. It wasn't a surprise for Jaron. It shouldn't have been a surprise, at least, for Jaron and Austin to have saw the sun setting and rising in the south and southwest. And that behavior is replicated across all flat Earth models. And we see with other flat Earth models like the Walter Bislin with the firmament trackers and the Flat Earth Pro. These are three models that I would call a quantified model. It can give you a prediction. It's not just a conceptual model. And what I mean by that is many people will say, no, my flat Earth model doesn't predict a 24-hour sun. But then you ask them, okay, where will the sun be in your model? What angle of elevation? And they end up not being able to give that result. And it ends up being that they don't really have a model, because the law of perspective is the same thing we all agree. Like, no matter where you live, you go outside, you're going to see Polaris. It'll be equal to your latitude. And then the south, exact same thing, except it's the southern celestial pole with the southern cross. No matter what, that latitude is equal to the elevation. And these concepts are expressed in every flat Earth app. Even Dave's app, the ground position is the exact same ground position that I have in my app, except now it's from first person seeing the dome refraction. So the easiest way to understand this would be going back to early Flat Earth apps. I think it's the Flat Earth Pro app. It's made by a Muslim guy who did it more for the moon because they want to know about the moon cycles. But it's a two-dimensional bird's eye view. You can go to 60 degrees south and see how the sun is curving around that observer. And then I guess as early as 2017, we had the Walter Bislin model, which visually being true, had a data layer of a globe model. So not a lot of people focused on that, but still we visually saw what's called the law of perspective. If you move across a flat Earth, your perspective is going to rise or fall by about 1 degree for every 69 miles. That's how Polaris works. And we know this, we can replicate it. And it's what I call observer-centric math. I don't need to ever make an assumption about the globe or even the surface I'm standing on. I can look at the sky and kind of know, based on where the sun is for me now, how it must be for an observer in Union Glacier, for example. So at 80 degrees of south latitude, we can do the calculation and realize that within our perspective, it will be visible. So I believe that every quantified flat Earth model predicts this, and many people prior to this in the flat Earth community never really took the math and science too seriously. They kind of just wanted to say the sun just does this, and that's okay at first, but we know that it doesn't just do that. The sun that's circling on the ground position is shining through the dome and it refracts out, and that's why my friends in New Zealand, they see the sun going to the south, and it didn't surprise us, I guess. So a lot of people are shocked that there's a 24-hour sun, where for me and all of us who are in the firmament trackers group, we knew this was coming, and we're telling everyone it's going to happen, but we're getting a lot of hate and people weren't ready for it. And even now, people still aren't ready to accept that it's fake in a studio. I'm hearing crazy stuff that is very, very ridiculous because they just don't realize that this works perfectly fine on the flat Earth. But not just that, the flat Earth actually requires it. If you disagree with the 24-hour sun in the south, that would mean you have to disagree with the observations for southern hemisphere observers as well. And I think a lot of people don't realize that because most of us are just in the north and we don't really ever do our practice calculations in the south. When we start learning about flat Earth math and science, we start learning about Polaris and doing everything from the United States. So it's easy and understandable to see why so many people miss this.
Well, there's many people who've said that having a model is a really bad idea. And then it brings about model reification, the model reification fallacy, and that it's better to not have a model and just go with it's flat, and all the measurements that have been taken show it is flat, and everything else is just noise out there. However, I know Mark has always wanted to have a model as a teaching tool when he's gone on various platforms and they've asked him what it looks like, and he's able to kind of show them the AE map. And I think Mark considers it to be kind of like the training wheels for somebody who needs something to jump to from the globe model, which they had in their classroom since they were a child. And then if you show them that, yes, you can, you can go around the flat Earth model on an airplane, kind of thing. Having that helps people training wheel style, and then they can look at things a little bit more advanced. But what do you think about model reification fallacy and how that, as many say, could be really dangerous?
Yeah, we have to always be willing to understand, first of all, that science is a continual process of improvement. I'm hoping that my model can be falsified so that we learn how to improve it and go forward. I think what you're talking about comes from a lot of the pressure that's being applied to many of the earlier pioneers like Mark Sargent, who made a hypothesis many years ago, and now we finally get to test that hypothesis, but people aren't realizing that the scientific method requires that we take a guess. If we didn't do that, then it's the zetetic method, and they're going to hold us to that fallacy. So it's important to understand that, yeah, models should become falsified, and if they do, that's how we move forward. And the example that I use, because Globers will try to hold us to this, I always talk about Newton and Einstein. Classical mechanics was fine, and then Einstein came along, did relativity, improved, not falsified Newton's model. You can still launch a satellite in space, theoretically, with classical mechanics. And I use that example because Globers believe it's true, and if they disagree with that, it shows their double standard of evidence. So in flat Earth science, I believe we have to always be ready to continually improve models. And even my model, I'm always adding new features. And a year from now, I have no clue what we'll have discovered as people like Joe Hanvey conduct physical experiments to kind of show what I can mathematically prove. So there's still so much more to learn. And I don't have all the answers either. And that's what makes this field of science so fun.
No, and it's great to see how much effort and time you put into it. And a couple things I want to get to. What were the final experiment challenges that you won? Do you remember could you break it down for us?
Yeah. The first one was flight distances. So again, my belief is very controversial, but I believe the Gleason map is actually what the world looks like. So let's imagine you're up on top of the firmament looking down. You're going to see a Gleason map. So I argued then how flight distances would work. So not straight line. You're following, for example, like on your compass going east, it's what we call a great circle, what the globe also has a great circle. A lot of these concepts are very similar. So the first one was how I argued that the flight distances that they're going to take will match exactly what we would expect on this model, applying the ether, because I don't believe in time dilation. So for my framework, I use an ether with length contractions. The second
What does that
challenge
mean?
was the sunrise.
Can you break that?
So there's a Lorentz length contraction. It describes that the physical changes are the world actually changing as opposed to relativity, which argues that time perception is changing. So I believe that we have a fluid ether framework that is within our universe. And as we travel latitudes through this ether, there's what's called the Lorentz length contraction. And that's how I would measure distances on flat Earth without having to use the Haversine formula.
Well, for a lot of us listening, and especially me being DJ curious, still learning, I don't know all the aspects of that Lorentz model that you're talking about. What does that mean?
Okay, so in special relativity, there would be time changes. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. You're traveling a distance, and either time can change or the physical length changes. That's the easiest way to explain it. So special relativity uses the Lorentz transform for all of its experimental predictions. And there are two ways of looking at the same thing. So a lot of us on flat Earth, we use an ether framework, specifically a fluid ether. And there's a whole group of people that know more about this than I do, such as Shane St. Pierre, and there's a whole ether cosmology focus group on that. But from my understanding of how I apply it, I do believe that there's a Lorentz length contraction. This is a real thing. Now, where I take it is I believe it applies on latitudes, because I believe this is actually what Earth looks like as opposed to a globe. So that's how I argue this is 100% real. If you were able to go up in space on the firmament and look down, you would see this.
And
We
I think
have
Joe
to get.
Hamby,
Oh, sorry. You go ahead, DJ.
Joe Hamby takes that into consideration when he made his physical model, that there must be a superfluid. Is there any kind of evidence to that you've come across in our reality that could point to that being true?
So superfluid, I believe, is based on a theological concept. I think Joe Hamby is modeling his based off a lot of biblical concepts. But if you're talking about the ether specifically, I believe experiments like Michelson-Morley showed us that there's no rigid ether and that there's a fluid ether that moves. And even people like Bob Nodell, I think he detected the ether drift. I think it's a 15-degree-per-hour ether drift. But it's important to understand that the rigid ether has been disproven and that we talk about a fluid ether.
I was just going to mention that we should get Shane St. Pierre, I'm subscribed to his channel, on for an interview as well. So maybe
you really should.
Absolutely.
We should definitely do. So, there's been controversy involving you, and well, Jaron said a lot of things, and he said them publicly. And I've seen you on other shows address what Jaron said, and you don't seem to be angry, mad, resentful, or hurt, which I find kind of shocking and maybe refreshing. So what did you think about what Jaron said? And he has a right to say and think what he wishes, of course. I'm not going against Jaron. You seem to feel the same. What do you think about it all?
Well, I spend a lot of my time in the public globe groups, so I deal with toxic behavior, the pinnacle of mental illness. So when I come across what Jaron's saying, it's perfectly fine and completely normal. So I'm not bothered at all by it compared to the stuff that I'm exposed to and a lot of the craziness. So yeah, Jaron's completely normal and respectful in the way he's rebuttaling it. And more importantly, he's dedicating like 5-minute seconds live stream to actually show people the model, and people who understand what it is and the value of it are searching it up, coming to subscribe to my channel, and that's how it is. You know, everyone has their part to play, and if Jaron has criticisms, it then gives me, I guess, more insights of areas that I might not have thought. So, example, one thing Jaron said, and you can bring them up too, I don't remember them all, but I remember Jaron looking at the grid of perspective and saying it's a mini globe. So then I realized, okay, other people might get confused on that as well. So then I made a video describing how even Stellarium has these grids and that it's nothing to do with the surface you're on. And I showed pictures. So I appreciate most criticisms if it gives me a way to respond, make content, and address that.
Isn't Stellarium globe-based as well?
It's a first-person view of a flat Earth model.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you can't actually zoom out and see the globe.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get it.
People will tell you it's a globe app, but
okay, built by globe.
It might make more sense. Yeah, but from a first-person perspective, it agrees with the first-person view of a flat Earth model as well. When we see an angled elevation for a sun, that's the observer-centric observation that everyone agrees with. You can go outside and see what's called the celestial declination. That sky coordinate is then how we determine the location for anyone else around the world.
What do you think that you're bringing to the flat Earth community that was missing? I guess it's the reason why you jumped in. What would it be exactly?
Yeah, so the software for sure. When I came across the Walter Bislin model, I saw it significantly lacking in many areas. Visually, it looked pretty good, but the graphics weren't there. There was no map. It didn't have multiple observers. So me with my software development skills, I wanted to, first of all, learn how to do 3D animation. My background is in back-end enterprise development, so I don't have any experience like doing 3-dimensional transformations. So learning how to do that on its own was fun, being able to apply it now to flat Earth and then end up making what is right now the best model in the world. So it has multiple observers, which is something that even globe apps cannot do. And what I mean by multiple observers, I mean you can have a person there, showing where the sun physically is, the ground position, the same location that globe apps agree with, but can't seem to model out this with multiple observers. So I guess it's my software development skills. And I say that humbly because most people can contribute to this movement if they want. Like a lot of us have skills that we don't really know are actually valuable. And even myself, I thought it was so silly. I'm like, who would want this app that I made? But then on Google Play, like 1,000 people are using the free version, 50 people are paying for the pro version. And it blows my mind to see that people actually do want this. And it is very valuable, doing stuff that I really say globe apps cannot do. You cannot find a globe software that will show you two different observers with a celestial sphere with those grids of perspective and the ground position star. That just doesn't exist. So it makes the argument that the flat Earth model is probably the more realistic. Even if you steel man it and make a globe argument, assume that this is all globe stuff, how come it's only able to be done on the AE projection and not a sphere? That implies that this is what the world actually is.
So people are saying the AE map is debunked and that David Weiss should delete his app and walk away. And so a lot of people have there's people, not a lot of people, but there are a few people in Flat Earth who claim that they do have the correct working map and model of the world. And then there's another group of people who say we will never know. It's made by God, or some call the creator, and there's no way we will ever know what the heck's going on, so we should just enjoy where we live and realize it's flat. I think if you're good at making maps and models and you have that talent, even if you might be wrong on some things, you can't help yourself but to apply your skills. You can't just sit back and do nothing. For me, since I don't have map making or model making skills, I just look at it all with wonder and say, it works. I know because I'm living in it and I'm good with that. But you're going ahead and doing something about it, which I do admire. Do you think that there's any negative aspect to coming up with a map and model and an app because it could be wrong? Are you afraid of those repercussions if they might come?
Well, there's never going to be a perfect model, but there'll always be useful ones. Now, to make it wrong is hard, though, because it means I got to violate the first principles that are already established and well known. So going back to what you mentioned about Dave's app, should he delete it? No, it is right. Dave's app is what I would call a first generation flat Earth model. It's showing the ground position from a bird's eye view, and that is 100% correct. It's not debatable because it has a latitude and longitude position that even globers agree with as well, because they would use that for celestial navigation. This ground position is true. So Dave's app is 100% accurate and always will be. And then we get into a second generation model like that Flat Earth Pro app where you now have one observer, but it's still in a bird's eye view. And we could always keep on going as long as we adhere to the foundations of flat Earth science. If I decide to randomly place the sun somewhere else, it won't work, for example, and I wouldn't have been able to make this model. I can only make this model because it agrees with everything that came before me.
Well, and I love that you have the next
But
generation.
then the one thing to add, there's stuff like the firmament. Like there's always going to be more to know. How high can we go up? And maybe in 100 years, we might learn more, and then these models become more and more and more.
So would you say we don't have a true flat Earth map because we're not able to fully map our realm, meaning we can't fully go out and explore all the corners, etc.?
And we can't go up either and look down.
So I would say the Gleason map, the AE map, is 100% accurate, but I think we could go farther. So I think we could go past the 90 degrees south latitude line. So when I look at researchers like Vibes of Cosmos with the plasma moon theory, what he has is a Gleason map inside of a larger map, which is the reflection of the moon. So if that's true, validates the Gleason map and it doesn't destroy the sun's analemma, everything would still work. So that is something I want to spend a little more time in. Is that theory possible? And then going, like, for example, would be at 100 degrees south latitude, which is something right now that's not even possible, but we can map it out because we know every 69 miles we continue to go, it'll be another degree of latitude. So I think we would want to explore the South Pole more, 90 degrees of latitude more. But it has to match this, though. So the Vibes of Cosmos is only true because it validates the Gleason map.
There's also the different heights of plane flights in Antarctica and in the Arctic. In fact, the Founded Earth Brothers in our chat said the planes fly at 1,100,000 feet in Antarctic and much higher in the Arctic. So is that something that you've taken into consideration when you built your map and model, or your model actually?
No, so I actually just assumed a zero elevation. And it will affect stuff slightly, but I don't know to what extent.
Well,
for
more
example,
like
in
a
Antarctica,
dome, covering a dome, and so the planes in the Arctic can only go up so high, and in the Antarctic they can only.
Oh
go
no!
up
So
so
I
high.
believe
That's
that
that's what they
sun
meant.
and moon. Okay, I understand the question. So I believe that all celestial objects are physically on the dome firmament at the point of refraction. And what that means is it's going to at least be a few thousand miles up. And when you do like a parabolic curve, if you're at, for example, 80 degrees of south latitude, you know that straight up is still going to be 1,000 miles. So I think you would have to actually go to 90 degrees of south latitude or like 89 degrees of south latitude to even come close to seeing the firmament dome or a plane being able to hit it.
It's so exciting to think about like what our realm really looks like and knowing that we have our limits, but it sounds like you were able to use this, animation to, some people would argue with this, make predictions. Are you able to predict things like eclipses and other celestial events, or how would you react to that?
Absolutely. So I want to say one thing. The term prediction can upset a lot of people, and essentially it's just part of the scientific method. It's the application of the scientific method. You do a hypothesis, if then that. That's all a prediction is. But to use flat earth math to essentially, like, it's still a prediction as well. Yeah, we can. So when we're talking about eclipses, for example, we have what are called the Soros cycles, but I don't want to misrepresent them. They only let us know the day. They can't let you know the exact time of an eclipse. But when we apply that data to a flat earth model like mine, what we see then, if we look at the orbital path that the sun and moon would take, there's a point when they intersect. So when you apply that to models like mine, we then end up being able to predict like an exact timing of an eclipse. And when I say that the orbits intersect, if people listening have studied Eastern cosmology and they know about the lunar nodes, there's an intersectional path. For example, with the solar eclipse, the sun and moon are always going to be right aligned. And that path, the orbital paths intersect is what I'm trying to say. So we can figure out exactly when an eclipse will be. So that's what that would be a prediction, because we're just taking a guess, and then you can see when it is. You can go online and it'll usually align within like a few minutes.
Interesting comment in the chat says that God tells us we'll never be able to fully measure the heavens and the foundations of the earth, that he would break his covenant with his people if man could measure it, from Jeremiah. That's interesting. I've heard people say that too, that this place, I mean, we can make models and maps, all day long, but in the end, like I said earlier, it is a mystery. And
we're limited.
Mysteries are exciting and really compelling. I don't think it's against God's wishes to try and figure things out, though. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been given minds, especially people with great minds who can try to figure things out. So, I don't think it's off limits to try, but just maybe we should know that, like Nathan Oakley's channel says, Earth is measured flat, period. That's it. Close the door.
Yeah, I
We're
like
done.
that saying.
In a way, that does sum it up quite.
Well, it's just interesting because we've experienced where a lot of people were wrapped up in what they thought this place was doing. And that's why I think in the scripture, my interpretation would be that God wants us to have this wonder because his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, his ways are better than our ways, but it doesn't mean we can't try. And it's meant to strengthen your faith, because if it's modeled after the word of God, then that gives us more faith, knowing that everything he said is coming true. Now, you know, you don't take my word for it. This takes your own research and reading and praying and seeing what happens. But it is an interesting aspect of Flat Earth that it feels like a divine intervention in a lot of people's lives. Would you say that you had an experience like that, Stephen, at all? Or
divine intervention. I do feel that Flat Earth kind of popped up out of nowhere. Like I didn't go looking for it, if that makes sense. And then I guess to have like a blessing from the creator, I could definitely agree with that. It seems like my software is doing well, and when there's like a problem I got to figure out, I'm able to find the resources online. So I would say that what I'm doing definitely agrees with what the creator would want from us. And then to add on what you previously was saying, I wanted to mention that there are going to be physical limitations. So like, I don't think it's possible to fly in an airplane above 150,000 feet. I think there's some designed limitation that the properties of flight and thrust just give out by the way that the universe is designed. So I fully admit that we'll never be able to 100% measure it. I don't think we'll ever be able to like chip a chunk off the firmament. You go south too much, it might just freeze. And like physically, it's not possible to go eventually. Like who knows? But
yeah,
it's very exciting.
That is super exciting. I think, you know, before we go to break, it's just a thought to leave with people. I mean, imagine if the world that kind of has the resources to really explore, let's say the government, if maybe they have realized they can only go so far. Maybe they've never even touched the firmament. I mean, we kind of assume that they've found it and they're keeping it off limits, but what if it's just they can't even go that far either? Because if the scripture is true, it does say who can measure this breadth and width of the earth. So there must be some limitations, which it sounds so supernatural, right? I mean, to sit here, but maybe when we look outside and we see the sun and the moon move above us, it just gives us reassurance that we're onto something here on this flat side, knowing that, hey, I don't think we're spinning, and I see with my own eyes. And then for you to take it next level and really design like we're saying, this kind of animated model is super exciting, and we are going to get to that for the people watching, I think, after the break. So
yeah, and we can maybe take questions from the chat when we come back from the break, if you will wait till then and then put them in all caps and pretty short questions.
That's
if
what you want to do. You want to say, use all caps. Oh, that's a good idea.
Because if you don't, then we won't know if it's just people talking to each other or not.
It's going to go all
so
caps.
There's that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, sure. Make
all
your
right.
question in all caps. Also, I do want to maybe address when we come back, Crow 777, and he says that he has filmed 2 suns recently. So maybe we can talk about what that means to Stephen Alonzo when we return.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we go to break real quick, Stephen, do me a favor. I want to see if I can generate a conspiracy. That water thing you had, hold it up in your right hand for me. All right, that's pretty good. Now push it off camera with your right, off. There you go. And then I'll do this. Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
Hang on, you want it back? Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do this.
Oh, wrong way. I got to grab it.
And
I got
there
it.
you go. See?
Hey.
Have fun with that, chat room. Okay, what happens when I hit this button? Okay, you got like 3 minutes to do whatever you want, Stephen.
Introducing the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock App Meetup Maker. Never miss another meetup again. You can look up meetups in several different ways. Sort by date. You can search by location or within a 500-mile radius. To create and list your own meetup, enter the date. Give the meetup a name, a location name, add a photo, enter your contact information, Create a group chat name and then fill out the description with all of the details. Select your background color and hit the Save button to add your meetup to the list. Once the meetup is saved, it will ask you to create a group chat for all of the meetups so people can join the group and start a local chat community. Select Public Group, add your welcome message, and your meetup is now available for all to see. To make sure you don't miss another meetup in your area, you can select your desired radius and whether you want push notifications or email or both. Whenever a new meetup is added in your selected radius, you get notified. The Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock Meetup Maker, bringing people together all around the plane.
Join me, Karen B, every moon day
Every
at
moon
9:30
day.
a.m. for Coffee Talk on YouTube, Rumble, and Rockfin. You never know what you'll learn about in the coffee shop. Open topic and open phones, y'all. And also for meetups, local meetups. If you want to have your meetup listed on flatearthfestivals.com for free, please email flatearthfestivals@protonmail.com.
Coming back.
Oh no.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 2 of 2. It is you, me, the always perfect Patricia Steere, the always delightful DJ Curious, and everybody's camera is having problems. So I'm probably back from the break. Hey, you know what that was? Joe Jackson stepping out from his album.
Night and day.
Thank you, DJ. All right, and we're gonna.
I gave everyone. I gave everyone a chance.
I know,
even the guests, 'cause,
I
we might have a guest that knows.
Someday a guest will just spring up and say it, and we'll be like,
Did you know what to say, Stephen?
I was gonna say hot and cold. I know I'm supposed to say day and night.
No,
but the
no,
first
it was
instinct
no.
would be
You
hot
could have
and
said
cold.
day and night.
Oh,
and
no.
we would have said, "Oh, that's pretty funny." It's actually night and day, but hot and cold would have worked as well. So if you guys know, I like dualism. And by the way, thank you, Peanut, for letting me know that my lips are now synced up with my voice. I made a quick little audio flip, so I think we're all good. Holy smokes!
Are they? I'll be the judge of that. Like, I'm the
Synced
most
lips
technical of
and-
this.
Well, yeah, but you're not gonna.
You got your chapstick on?
You're not gonna be able to probably see it until we come back. You are now a boy.
Hey, Night and Day played at the dentist the other day. Remember when I texted you?
Oh, really?
I'm sitting there in the dentist chair and I'm here and I'm like, oh my God, it's coming. And you know what? That was stepping out.
Yeah.
Wait,
I have such fun.
Joe Jackson stepping out from his album, and of course the hygienist just left me
I have
hanging.
such fond memories of that song, and I feel bad because he hated. Joe Jackson did not like. He came on when that song was made. Was when MTV was just coming out in the early '80s, and he hated the whole concept. And he's like, "I'm not doing it. I'm not doing any more music freaking videos." It's like, really? Because everybody else is, and you see what's happening to them. And he's like, I don't care because it's talent. Talent comes first, and
It's kind of like people who refuse to text in this age of texting. Mark Sargent.
All right, that
is interesting.
That
about
is
you.
well played, and you're right. You are right, Patricia. I cannot get mad at Joe Jackson because yes, I don't text. I've never sent a text in my life. I've also never had a cup of coffee and never had a tattoo, but I've never sent a text in my life because I think so much is lost in translation, and it is. It is. I mean, the fact
Never
again,
had a cup of coffee.
we had.
either?
I'm sorry. What?
Said never had a cup of coffee. You just slid that in
Yeah, there's a. You know what? If you've ever played the never game with people, I've never or I've always done this. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you don't want to play that with me. It's a bad.
I've never done Face ID for a bank, and I've never done your voice is your password for any sort of thing I need to sign in. F all that.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that we had to create this massive emoticon library to fill in the gaps for texting. It's like, or you could just pick up the, I know I'm Gen X, I know, but it's like, pick up the freaking phone and just talk to people. I mean, I remember, Patricia remembers the days when when cell phones were new and people were racking up these massive cell phone bills. It's like, really, you don't want to get a landline, just call for basically for free from your house? Oh no, we're going to get roaming charges. That was a thing, by the way, kids, roaming charges.
Oh, I remember those. That's the worst when you get a brand new cell phone at 20 years ago.
God. Yeah.
Wait, are we playing Never Have I Ever? Okay, never have I ever had a lox with cream cheese on a bagel.
Oh, interesting. Well, Stephen, it's you. What have you never done?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm trying to think about that.
Ain't
I do appreciate those old phones. I got to grow up at that transition period of technology. What have I never done? Never have I ever gone to space.
There you go. See, that's
yeah,
perfect.
You win.
Oh, Peanut says he's never been convicted of a felony.
Segue.
Thank you, Peanut. Appreciate that.
Well,
see what you did there.
Nice.
Real nice. Well done.
What a square.
Yeah, I know, right?
He looks like convicted.
I know. By the way, I'm excited really fast.
Keyword.
Just so you guys know, for those of you who are down, I've got my my passport renewal today. So I know I should be on no-fly list, and yet they just keep letting me do things. It's like because he's
it's just as weird as Witsit being able to fly with a hidden vape and that being allowed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a little different though. Somebody missing something in screening is a little different than the government punching up your thing during passport renewal. Because this is my third passport, and and
saying this guy blew up a bunch of stuff back.
Exactly.
In the
There
day
should be
on
there should be alarms going off at the top of the computer, but nope, that's fine. So anyway. And again, people are saying, because he's an agent, that's why. Because he just went a couple floors up in the building and it says, hey, can you make sure my passport's okay? Yeah, man. Totally gotcha.
Poor Witsit. That guy, I hope he's getting some rest finally. It seems like these allegations are backing down. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cooling out there on the plane where allegations are concerned.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the oh, sorry, let me get rid of this video in the background so we can see DJ's name. The if it wasn't for the LA fires, he'd probably, I mean, that took a lot of heat off of him. Too soon? Maybe too soon. Anyway, where did we leave off?
Well, Crow 777 and the two suns spotted by him several times. What do you think about that? I don't know if you've heard about it, Stephen. What do you think about that, and what does it say about where we are?
In the few footages I've seen from other people, not just from the suns, but it tends to be like they'll see like Nibiru in the sky, Planet X. All that stuff from what I've seen have always looked like lens flares. But if what Crow 777 is showing, if it actually looks like two suns, that would be very interesting. And then my question would be, does it appear like that when you're visually looking at it, or does it only appear like that on camera? I assume the answer is it appears visually as well, but I would be interested to learn more about that for sure. And then if it is happening, it could be something to do with the dome. If the sun is like lining up in some weird way, it doesn't make sense to me though, no.
Okay. Well, dome refraction is something that you think is very important with your model and with what's really going on. And that's why they saw the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Can you explain that to us like we're maybe 6 years old?
Yeah. So the important thing to remember is that ground position, that GP point on the firmament where light is shining through. I think
You're good. You're good.
Cut out for a sec.
You're still good.
Yeah, say that again.
Say it again. Slower.
So when you're on the firmament, that is where the celestial objects are, such as the sun, the moon, physically at the point of refraction. So it'd be on the dome. So then imagine it's climbing up and down if it was moving between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. So that is where light hits the firmament. And then much as what you've seen with Joe Hanvey's model, you get it a totally wrap around so that what you're actually looking at is the source. We never see that source, though. The path that the photon takes from point A to point B is that refraction.
Well, based on the footage that you've seen from Antarctica, does it kind of align with the direction the sun should be moving based on what you had modeled?
Sorry, my earphones are dying. I think I got to plug in a speaker. Just one quick sec.
No problem. How are you guys?
Good. I'm admiring all his shirts back there.
I know. Look at all his cool
Flat Earth
swag.
University, Flat Earth Science something, and Flat Earth app. I don't know what the Flat Earth app is about.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You know,
There's some guy who does
some
it.
shady guy that lives in Mexico.
Yeah, I had these in my ear to reduce the echo, but let me just see what happens when
Just
I
so you
turn back
guys
on my
know,
speaker.
Stephen is broadcasting from Belize.
Yeah, that's why it's a little delayed and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
So honestly, I feel lucky that we even have you at all tonight.
Yeah, it's a really great connection considering.
It's just so nice to hear that he got just into this, fired up. It's a lot of people that happened to, where things were just coming together in their lives and got this overwhelming interest, and everyone's kind of got their part in this whole let's get to the bottom of the truth thing. And you just remind me of the character. Did you ever see the movie Galaxy Quest, Stephen?
I'm back now. No, I'd never seen Galaxy Quest. No.
Oh, look, it's obviously space indoctrination at its comedic finest, but there is a character that reminds me of you that was kind of saves the day in the end in a certain way. So you'll have to watch it. It's played by Justin
Long's
Long.
character. Yeah. Yep. I can see
I'll
it.
take a look.
I can see it.
He just, it's a great movie for what it was, but now I look back, I'm like, oh, sad. That just reaffirmed space in my childhood over and over and over, and I was falling for it. But now I can, suspend disbelief.
Let's look at some of the video that we have prepared for Steve and Mark. There's some things that would really be nice to show everybody as opposed to just talk about.
Okay. So
what should we look at first, Stephen?
Well,
that video that goes over the model, I think, will be very good.
All right. So we're going to try, just so you guys know, this is a first for Strange World. We are doing a video presentation through channels, and I'm hoping you have chat room. Please let us know if there's any looping.
Brace yourselves,
Yeah, I know.
everyone.
Exactly. I mean, I've got it up on screen. I'm
not this
one.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So
the budget on this show is amazing.
So I know it's huge. And again, what happens when I hit this button and all of us may be talking? I don't know if the mics are going to be hot. Whatever. Let's just run it. Let me see what I can do. All right, hang on. So, okay, we're going to try it this way. So if it's no sound is going through the full screen, let's see. I did. Oh, wait, unmute it. Hang on. Let me try it one more time. 1 second. 1 second. Give me a sec. Oh, okay. Try it now. Let me know now.
Globe apps such as
Sorry, I'll start it over.
Safari are
Okay.
only able to give you the first-person view is our sophisticated 3D navigation system. Using intuitive touchscreen joystick controls, users can freely explore the celestial environment from any vantage point.
There you go.
The left joystick controls
That's
movement
cranked,
across
by the way. It's a
flat
quiet
plane of
video.
Earth, while the right joystick adjusts altitude, creating a seamless exploration experience. One of our most groundbreaking features is the multiple observer system. Unlike any other astronomical software available, Firmament Trackers allows you to simultaneously view celestial events from different locations on Earth. This capability transforms how we understand celestial phenomena from different geographical perspectives. Globe apps such as Stellarium and Sky Safari are only able to give you the first-person view, the same view that flat Earth models also do, but because the globe is not real, you can't zoom out. You can't model something that doesn't exist, and this is why globe models can only have one observer at a time. What truly sets us apart is our flat Earth GPS plotting system. While platforms like Google Maps and Bing Maps excel at traditional mapping, they are not allowed to show you the flat AE projection. Our software is the first and only solution that can accurately plot GPS coordinates on the North Polar azimuthal equidistant map while maintaining astronomical accuracy. This breakthrough allows researchers to correlate terrestrial locations with celestial phenomena in ways that were previously impossible. It should also be noted that the globe model is unable to combine astronomical models with geographical models. That is why they have separate models for astronomy and geography, such as VSOP 87 for Stellarium and WSG 84 for Google Earth. Stellarium does not allow you to zoom out and Google Earth let you know about the sky. This is because you cannot model something that does not exist, whereas when modeling the real-life flat Earth, we do not need to separate astronomy from geography into two separate models like the globe requires. Since the Earth is flat, it's okay for us to allow you zoom out and show you how it all works. This view is something globe apps such as Stellarium or Sky Safari cannot do. They need to hide it from you. The Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth app is one model that allows you to do everything. We want to show you what the world really looks like. We've also implemented an advanced location auto search feature that makes navigation effortless. Users can simply type in any location, and our system instantly positions the observer at that point. This feature leverages a sophisticated geolocation database to ensure precise positioning anywhere on Earth. Perhaps our most significant breakthrough is our ability to accurately model the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. This has been a long-standing challenge in astronomical modeling, as traditional flat Earth models struggle to explain how the sun could remain visible for a full day during Antarctic summer. Previous models even have refused to even let you go past 60 degrees south latitude. Our software resolves this through sophisticated dome refraction calculations and precise celestial mechanics. Users can now observe and understand how the sun maintains visibility through this period, while still adhering to all other observed astronomical phenomena. This achievement represents a major step forward in comprehensive astronomical modeling. For those looking to explore these capabilities, we're proud to offer a free Android app that provides access to our core features. This makes our technology accessible to anyone with an Android device, allowing users to begin their astronomical journey without any initial investment. The app serves as an excellent introduction to our more advanced Pro and academic versions, which offer expanded capabilities for serious researchers and institutions. Whether you're tracking the sun's daily path, observing lunar phases, or studying star movements from your location, the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth app helps you understand what you're seeing with your own eyes.
Are you ready to see?
Okay, let me mute this for a second. And go back to show broadcast, because if I didn't mute that, I guarantee we get some sort of echo. Anyway, comments?
Well, that was really amazing. Those are our own personal domes. Is that what those were, Stephen?
Perspective grids. So it represents your angle of elevation in a compass azimuth direction. It makes no claims to the physical location, meaning the height above the ground we cannot know from those perspective grids. It's called the equatorial grid, the celestial sphere. There's many terms for it in astronomy. But it's for the observer. It's an observer-centric observation. It has nothing to do with the physical position of the celestial objects.
And it looks like it's showing... really quick. It looks like it's showing multiple observers at once in real time. Why is that so important?
Well, because it's never been done before is the main thing. And then I go one step further and claim that I don't think it's actually possible on the globe. I figure if it it would have been modeled before. And we even find other weird stuff like the AE map to plot GPS locations. I think at one point Google actually removed it from their maps. It's like you're not allowed to see this, or no one wants you to see it. So the mapping is one thing, but then the multiple observers is the thing that's never, as far as I'm aware, it's never been done before in real time. Not a pre-made Blender animation. I'm talking about like a quantified model where you can just change the time and right there in real time you see the sun move for everyone. That's never been done before, and I believe it's only possible on the flat AE map.
It's so interesting that you bring that up. When you were developing this and getting into flat Earth, were you surprised at how much deception is out there when it comes to our realm?
Oh, absolutely, because you have to learn all the science kind of over again, and you start figuring out a lot of the stuff that we initially were told is not true, and it seems like they're intentionally deceiving you, because the example I just gave, I got to be humble and realize that I'm not the best developer in the world. Surely if I can make this, Microsoft, Google, and Bing could, but they're choosing not to. So then, yeah, it goes into the whole deception thing. Someone high up doesn't want the world to know about flat Earth. They don't want you to see this view. So it's very interesting why this type of software is not out there if it's possible to.
Yeah, and you're taking it on. I think that's why we got to give you a little grace and let you kind of grow and hear the skepticism. I love your outlook on this, because we are, at least you're trying to do something that we all haven't been able to do in this detail. So it's pretty exciting. I think one really interesting aspect is how much your program relies on refraction, and how confident are you that whatever this dome is made out of would be able to project the sun in multiple locations. Is that the right way of saying it, or how would you describe that?
Yeah, so I think it's called a total internal reflection is the term, but these concepts are not necessarily new. We're just applying science now to the concept of a dome. So one very basic thing I want to mention, we cannot have 180 degrees of refraction with just one refractive index. So for example, on the dome firmament, we have something called a gradient refractive index, and the physical properties of that we don't know yet. We still have a whole lot of work to do in science, but we're getting there, and I believe that is how it absolutely works if there is a 24-hour sun. So assuming that everything we've seen is true, assuming that the law of perspective is true, like the same law that applies for us where we live applies for the rest of the world, then yeah, I believe we have to have dome refraction, and refraction, not a reflection, because the stuff's not flipping, and that's something that has been being misrepresented. The globers are trying to tell us that our model, it'll be a reflection, but it's refraction. That's something important. The light shines through and then changes the angles, or kind of like a fiber optic cable. You know how the source is the exact same as it goes through? Does that make sense? How the exact same signal at every point it's reflecting through a fiber optic cable is 100%, and much in the same way as light wraps around a firmament. We have so much more to learn. So with Joe Hanvey's work, that's kind of one of the people that I've been really impressed by, seeing a physical mechanism, because sure, I can mathematically prove that the flat Earth model requires this, but to see a physical mechanism that can be even close to what the creator made for an actual firmament, because we don't actually know about the firmament. We can only come close, and getting very close, and it's really exciting.
It is very exciting. So, but I want to see if the other two want to jump in.
Patricia's.
Some people are saying that Joe Hanvey's model would work even better if he had a way, the way yours does, to visualize what it's like from inside the dome, where he could maybe figure out a way to get a really small camera in there. Do you think that would be beneficial to him?
Oh, absolutely. I encourage Joe to start making more videos, doing tons of demonstrations. I think he is hesitant because as soon as you start becoming popular, you're going to get flooded by hate comments. And I don't think he was used to that yet because he wasn't really part of a lot of the public groups. He wasn't arguing too much. He's just like a normal guy taking like photos. He's like an astronomer. And so I hope he does more, and everyone should as well. Get domes, shine flashlights over, see what happens, have cameras inside, even like a 360 camera. I don't know if people have that, but those are the types of experiments and observations that we just need to do. Publish the videos and let people just look at it and go from there. So absolutely, yes. That's the best thing we can do right now is conduct physical experiments with any type of parabolic dome. Plastic, glass, see the different refractive indexes.
It's really crazy that if you try new things or come onto the scene as a newer person, the amount of hate and people trying to bring you down. I'm glad Joe's still, hanging tough and doing what he does. And he's gone on to defend himself on various forums I've seen. And
yeah, he's doing
doesn't
amazing.
Seem to be cracking or breaking under the pressure. I know I broke under the pressure, but those were personal attacks about how I looked or what sex I am. But for him, it's maybe very personal because it's saying, it's personal attacks about what he believes in and his skills and talents that he's put toward it. It's really rough, but life's not easy either. And we all have to take abuse in our regular life every once in a while. But in Flat Earth, it sometimes, but not always, is so concentrated, the hate. And there's certainly been a lot of it going on recently with the Antarctica thing. And I'm glad that it's somewhat dying down now. Maybe we can all get our footing and continue on. Does anybody know of any people who have, well, we know Jaron, but and then two others, people who have left Flat Earth? I know that Duffy has said he's been receiving letters from people. I know 3 people that have potentially left Flat Earth. One of them is Jaron. The other 2 I won't mention, and you probably know who I'm speaking of. But are there scads of people leaving Flat Earth over the 24-hour Antarctic sun, which I knew was going to happen? Lady Blunt or Blount said it herself. So
nah. The short answer, and you've heard me say this a few times, including the video I made on Antarctica before they left, which was nobody got into Flat Earth, not just because of the 24-hour sun, but the sun in general. Most of the people that get into it, and I mean over 70% get into it because of long-distance photography. And then the remaining 30% is broken up between different aspects of physics and the space agencies. I mean, the space agencies is usually what gets most of the people down that road to begin with, because they want to lean. It's like, well, NASA will show me the truth. And then once they get down that far, they're like, oh, not so much. And then they have to back off and, there you go, and go down one of those other roads. And so, no, I've gotten some emails and some texts from people. By the way, don't text me. I'll read them, but I'm not going to respond because, I don't text. Where people are questioning things, of course. But honestly, they're not even, what kills me, and this is your point, Patricia, is they're not questioning the 24-hour sun. The questions are about Jaron and Austin. More than anything, it's like, why are you focusing on them? It's like, don't you want to, they don't even want to look at the 24-hour sun because it's like, don't you care? That's the point, isn't it? So no, nobody's leaving. Why would they?
I've been going back and forth in my head about you can't undo what happened, but if we could rewind, would it have been better if no flat earthers would have gone at all? Or would it have been better if different flat earthers went? What do you guys think the outcome would have been had those scenarios been what played out?
No, I mean, Austin, I go with Austin on this one, where he said, because that was one of his big fears, which is if he didn't go, somebody would have gone that we would have looked at. It's like, oh God, we would have rolled our eyes and be like, oh, why is...
Yeah, but some people roll their eyes at Austin. Yeah,
but
say that.
But it's
right?
But until...
But nobody had a problem with him going before he went.
Oh, after,
right?
Well, of course.
It was all after. It's all like hindsight, and that's like the bummer because Austin has been doing so much heavy lifting in Flat Earth and just schooling Globers and doing the debates, and then to see the people just turn on him so fast because they didn't like the result. But even Will Duffy said nobody said there would be a 24-hour sun before we got there. We documented that on our show. Stephen Alonzo had already talked about it, and plus, Zetetics, they've already predicted this. So it's just there's so much deception, and that's the crazy crazy part, and to see the community flip on these people that we trust. I mean, and then
again,
the deception is not coming from inside the community, it's coming from outside the community. We really need to understand who the monsters on Main Street really are. It's not each other.
The fact that I had to dig up a 7-year-old video from the Twilight Zone thing to prove a point, and by that meaning I posted it 7 years ago, but it's from 1961, and this, I mean, it goes back a long, back, Patricia's heirs when they were burned at the stake, and by that I mean the Coven. Seriously, back in the day, don't forget, this is human nature. This isn't about the community. It's just human nature, which is we convinced people that average townsfolk, women, were witches. And we went after them and we came up with tests. It's like, well, if you don't drown, then you're a witch. But if you do drown, you're not. I mean, no-win scenario. So no, don't. As much as I want to say, I'd love to go down Jaren's path and say, oh yeah, you guys are all just freaking idiots. It's like, no, this is how it works. The mob does what it does, and so it'll to Patricia, it'll die down. Of course it will. They'll find another distraction eventually. Probably me in the vacuum chamber. Let's hope.
But the flat Earth drama is it's creating so much buzz.
It is.
True.
And
this could be what you couldn't script this any better. That's why they do think it's faked. And I'm not saying that I think that it is. No way. I believe that this is unfolding, and it's unfolding as it's supposed to, because this is a way that you can break it to the mainstream. You have literally someone who saying, wait, I was wrong on camera. In the mainstream, of course, the more they want to laugh and mock it, the better, because it says, I'm going to defer to this dusty old book called scripture, saying they are going to mock the truth always, so we don't have to freak out. But maybe we should get back to Stephen, because he didn't get a chance to answer the question. Have you seen anyone leave flat Earth over this?
Not for my community. We all expected the 24-hour sun to happen, and then I'm just trying to think, have I come across any of the friends I've met over the years, and no one's really leaving flat Earth because of it. I guess most people, that's the thing. The question is, okay, how does this work on flat Earth if there is a 24-hour sun? And that's the thing. Half the community hasn't even accepted that there is a 24-hour sun.
True.
A lot of people are still wasting their time on the crazy stuff, like a crack or whatever, a footprint. People don't want to accept it's real yet. So there's that problem. And then hopefully once people realize, okay, it's real, then they all start learning a lot of the foundational concepts they just kind of forgot about. And being Northern Hemisphere people, we don't always think about that. And in the back of their minds, they probably know all the concepts, just got to kind of put it together, get over whatever crazy shadow or whatever it is they're focusing on. But that's the problem right now. People aren't trying to wonder, how does it work on flat Earth? They're trying to figure out, why does Austin's shadow look this way? And that's the thing. We have 3 years. There's a group in 2021 that the shadows all match the angle of the sun. From the angle of the sun from the group in 2021, you can make a prediction that there would be a 24-hour sun at that spot because of the angle of elevation it's at, and it's the timing. So even without the final experiment trip, and let's say the final experiment did fake it all just to mess with us, that doesn't change the prediction for the 24-hour sun. I still expect it, even if they didn't go there. It doesn't change anything for me.
Bill Keith channel in the chat says he's been seeing the 24-hour sun from the Davis Station dome camera since 2019 and posted them since 2020. And Lindsay, what's Lindsay's last name? Lindsay, I can't think of it. Harris. Lindsay Harris has said that he predicted the 24-hour sun as well before the final experiment occurred.
Correct.
So it's not really a surprise.
Well, it was a surprise to one person.
Surprise if you, yeah, that's true. But I mean, I'm not going to say he should have known, because you can't say that about somebody else. There's a lot of things I've done that I should have known better for. All of us have been in that boat before too. I do admire that he although it made for a really harsh soundbite for us flat earthers in the media, that he did say sometimes you're wrong about things, and I was wrong about the 24-hour sun. I mean, it's nice to see somebody admit that they were wrong in this world at all, ever, because people usually don't.
I mean, I get, you've heard me say it, I won't drag this out, which is every once in a while you'll run into somebody at the casino that throws all their chips onto one number at the roulette table, and you stare at them and you go, whoo, that is bold, my man. It's like, I got a good feeling about this number, right? It's okay. So,
well, it's been a whirlwind. I mean, having to explain this to friends and family, it is a conversation starter. So, I don't mind it at all, because at the end of the day, things like this Steven Alonzo app can help us explain what we think is going on here, claiming, we don't know every little detail, but we know what it's not. And we know that the floor does not predict the sky, and the sky does not predict the floor. So it's more of saying this realm is specially made, and we are the side going, hey, we're going to try to lean into that truth and discover what we can, knowing that it might continue to surprise us. But maybe that's why so many people had a hard time with the 24-hour sun. They didn't know what to make of it, so their first reaction was, hey, these guys made us look stupid, which I get. Nobody wants to look dumb, and if we are all grouped into one thing, as the media wants to do, then it can make people very upset, because they saw how this could have been prevented. They saw how there could have been a better way to disseminate that information, and everyone had an opinion about it after the fact. But that doesn't mean that we burn our own at the stake, and it caused major waves. So this is an opportunity to go forward, right?
Well, definitely, Mark Sargent and I both said the 24-hour sun. Well, Mark says it didn't matter, and I said there's going to be a 24-hour sun there. Well, and not that we're some wise people and predicted things or anything like that. It's just I also looked at Duffy's confidence and realized he already knew there was one. So that
there was decision. That. Yeah, I don't think Duffy goes after anything unless he knows it's a sure thing.
He's a master chess player.
Well, I don't give him that much credit. No,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, he sees himself as a master chess player. How about But the truth does not fear investigation. So, bring it up. Look at all of it.
But,
you look at whether or not you think it's fake. It is all fine. It is all fine. I have my opinion. It's not fake. I never thought it was fake once. But I did look at things people were pointing out, and I could find something reasonable to explain each and every one of them. I didn't just accept on blind faith, of course.
Yeah, well, even I was sitting there going, are they really going to be able to see it? How would that work? Oh, and then you start to learn about coffee cup caustic, and you start to think, there really hasn't been that great of an example of how dome refraction could work. So Steven's app is pretty interesting because it provides some insights into what could be.
In 3D as well. I think that's one of the major problems as well. The flat earth community has never really seen a proper flat earth model in 3D showing this. The bird's eye view they've seen before, but they're not necessarily going to then understand when Austin and Jaron are looking up how that's going to look, and that can also confuse them for sure.
What about parallax? Does your app/model take into account parallax?
I would say no, because I believe for parallax you have to be so far away, where for my app I put all celestial objects right on the firmament. So there'd be between like 2,000 to 6,000 miles away on my model.
Okay. Bill Keith in the channel, Bill Keith in the chat said that the Colux screen, Mark, you know what he's talking about? That the firmament, like you've said, Mark, in the clues, could basically be a giant plasma screen, not like a plasma screen put up in Antarctica faking it, but just that's what it is. It's the display screen.
So real quick, let me see if I can summarize. I made some videos a while back when the technology was coming out pretty early in plasma screens. So in offices, doctors' offices, where they had no access to skylights, if they were in the middle, there was special software that mimicked the sun, right? To where the sun in a blue sky, and it would follow you depending, where you were around the room. And it was, because it had that perspective, and it was brilliant. Again, this was done 10 years ago, when they were working on this stuff, and it was really, really good. Again, that's just what we can do, and this is one to Stephen. You'll get this. I'm older, so and you and I share some of the same background, because I come from the video game development world. So I was there when the first suns were put in the sky, and well, at least when the suns were being simulated to light up things, right? It wasn't just like a 2D sun. It's like, oh look, it's not doing anything. And the problem was, all right, what do we do about lighting up the sun for different people? How do we resolve the angles for different players in the same game? And of course, the answer was pretty simple. It's like, well, we just give everybody a different sun, because you can't be two players at the same time. You can't be in two different places at the same time, and that's how you did it. And so it was through instancing, which we did with everything else. It's like, oh, we'll just instance the sun. No one's ever going to know the difference, and that resolves a lot of stuff for me. Again, I've never been shy about saying that this world is, it just screams some sort of simulation, some sort of construct. God designed as it was. I believe God was the greatest programmer ever, but that's what has always been for me. Again, the corpuscular rays drives me insane, where you see corpuscular rays from where you are, and then yet guy 20 miles down the beach sees the same sort of pattern. How do you resolve it? It's like, well, because they're looking at each their own individual sun. But then I don't want to go into that too much, because that kind of muddies the water a little more. Anyway, sorry, where did I derail you guys? Where were you?
No idea. Somewhere in the ether.
Do you want me? We have some time. Do you want me to queue up the second video?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure. Before you play it, I can give a quick opening. A lot of people are trying to misrepresent the firmament trackers model and say it's the 2017 Walter Bislin model. So this second video clearly shows the differences and addresses that kind of insulting thing for Globers to say, because I developed this myself, and it's not the Walter Bislin model.
All right, let's give this a shot. I will make sure I unmute this time. And let's unmute it first. There we go.
Awesome.
Was released in 2017. It has a visual layer of a flat Earth model with a data layer of a heliocentric model to derive azimuth and elevation angles, but for only the sun and moon. It is very limited. The Walter Bislin model does not support stars or planets. This means we cannot learn about the Southern Cross. We encounter more problems when trying to use the model for navigation, as the map is just a green image with no names for countries. It's a really bad attempt by a Glober to troll the flat Earth community, but still good for 2017. This is why Stephen Alonzo decided to progress flat Earth modeling forward by 7 years, with the release of the Firmament Trackers model in 2024. As mentioned earlier, the Walter Bislin model is using the heliocentric model to derive azimuth and elevation angles for the sun and moon. The Firmament Trackers model uses equatorial coordinates of right ascension and declination to derive the azimuth and elevation angles for the observer. This means that we can use observer-centric observations to determine the celestial declination of the sun ourselves, to know that every year in December it is minus 23. This is a sky coordinate that we can then input this into the model and see what the prediction is for any location, including Union Glacier Camp. No models are needed to determine this. We can figure out the data layer ourselves using Flat Earth model to validate the output of the visual layer, instead of the data layer being hidden in the Walter Bislin model, as it's really a globe model designed to troll flat earthers. To clarify, the Walter Bislin model does not output nor support equatorial coordinates, since it's not a quantified model. Again, it is using a heliocentric model to derive azimuth and elevation angles for the sun and moon only. Whereas with the firmament trackers, we can manually input the sky coordinates of any 3 stars and then preform a 3-star fix, successfully preforming celestial navigation on flat Earth, something that cannot be done in the Walter Bislin model, since it only supports the sun and moon. It's not a real astronomical model and cannot be used for much. It should also help to clarify that this azimuthal grid of perspective is only a few dozen lines of code. This grid is not the model, much in the same way that Sky Safari did not copy Stellarium. Every astronomical model uses this grid, as it is how the observer-centric perspective works. The only difference is that globe models such as Stellarium do not allow you to zoom out. So it can be confusing the first time you get to see the third-person view looking at these grids of perspective. However, it's not special, and every astronomical model uses them. Finally, since the Walter Bislin model is a globe model, it cannot support multiple observers like what the Firmament Tracker Flat Earth can do.
Nice. Hey, quick question for you, Stephen. What voice software are you using for your stuff?
That is 11 Labs.
Wow, it has gotten so much better. I mean,
it really
just
is.
in the
I got it for that documentary I sent you, the Glorious on Ice. I used it for a lot of the stuff in there, and it was perfect. And then,
I mean, just in the last, I've seen the difference just in the last 2-3 years that the
Oh, we got echo. We got echo.
My sorry. Shit, sorry. 1 second. Yep. Got to remember to hit that mute button on the because that's desktop audio. So sorry guys, I know you hate the reverb. But anyway, sorry. The point was is the AI software, the voice software you're using. I'm a big audiophile and I love listening to it. And I'm listening. It's like wow. I mean, granted, the inflections aren't above that certain meter, but as far as matter of fact conviction, I mean, you pick good choices and it's like wow. It is really good. Yeah. Voice.
Very impressive.
Yeah, voice acting is dead now. Just so you guys don't, as a career choice, anyone out there, don't go to voice acting. Starting now.
It has changed
a lot. You are never going to be able to break in because by the time you finish your whatever training, the software is going to dominate. And of course they'll use celebrity voices too, which is nice. Anyway, sorry. Did you have any other comments on that particular video?
No, that video was a great video. It goes over to the major differences between my model and the 2017 model that Walter Bislin made. And he used globe math to kind of drive the sun and moon. So for that reason, the flat earth community never really was too brought into that model. So the 3D exposure was something that we never really had. So with me, I didn't even use Walter's code. I did it all from scratch with a focus on the equatorial coordinates. And that's observer-centric flat earth math that I talk about so much. You can go outside, measure the celestial declination, a sky coordinate, put that in the model, and then use it to make a flat earth prediction. Because we have the equatorial coordinates, we can verify it ourselves, which is wonderful.
Nice. Well done.
What's the biggest criticism that you've got for what you've done, Stephen? And have you looked at the criticism and said, I need to fix that or I need to address that?
So charging people for the pro version of the app is really the only criticism I've had. And it's really come from Globers, not really even within the flat earth community. But then to address that, I just let them know that even if I want to release a free app, Apple charges me $99 a year. So there's a developer license that Apple charges, that Google charges, the Flat Earth University's $50 a month. There's expenses that I have to pay even if I want to release free stuff to the community. And I simply explain that, and most people are okay with that. And then the people who have purchased the pro version is the reason other people now get the free version. And then Google Play is really nice because they give a lot of features. Like if you're from a developing country, you get a 75% discount on the pro version. So you're getting it for very, very cheap. If you live in India, for example, you're not going to pay the same as those of us who are more privileged and can't afford to pay for the pro. So I've addressed it, I think, in the best way I can.
Well, that makes sense. And if people are angry at creators for making money from flat Earth, and I don't sell anything and I don't monetize my channel. In fact, there's hardly anything on my channel. But and some people do. But the thing is that so it's okay for somebody who's a flat earther to work at, randomly Walmart. That's okay to work for the quote man, but it's not okay to create an app and have a small fee attached to it. That's
I know, it's
ridiculous.
Sad. Then I talk about like even the globe stuff. I went to the Kennedy Space Center when I was a kid, and if you want to talk about like grifting, that there is merch on merch. It's insane. So I think anyone who has a hobby should be allowed to sell it. If you have a skill, sell it. I want to buy flat earth shirts because I think it's fun. I have a Gleason couch that I'm sitting on because I like this stuff. Not everyone does, but people who do shouldn't feel bad about collecting flat earth stuff. You know, I have a hardcover textbook because I wanted to physically have, you know, like a flat earth book in my house. It's cool.
And there's so much to lose anyway when you come to the flat side. I mean, you could lose employment, you lose friends. If you're putting the effort in to help us all grasp where we live, I don't see a problem with that at all. And like Mark said, there's no one making millions off this that we know of. So there's no good shills, I think, better way of saying, no good shills in flat earth. And so, Stephen, you know, this is just super exciting because I've seen Witsit, I think, use your firmament trackers app before in a debate. Have you seen that before?
No, I'd be very exciting if he has.
Well, it looked similar because I remember seeing him kind of using the dome and showing things around. It could have been maybe a different program. It may have been the
Walter Bislin, though. If it was that kind of a green map, that's just like a green image, no countries on it, that could have also been what you saw as well.
Maybe. But it's just nice to know that there's more coming. So what are you looking forward to in your app? Like, what's next and what's the ultimate goal? How good can it get?
I guess for the next feature I would want to add in, on the top of my mind, there's not too much. What I would want to start looking at is going south of 90 degrees south latitude. If I was to allow us, for example, to go to 100 degrees of south latitude, how would the celestial mechanics work for that? That's kind of the major focus that I have right now. For the firmament trackers model right now, it is fully quantified, and all the features that I want are in it, and any features that anyone can suggest, I'm more than willing to add into it. For example, like the sunspots, that's something I'm working on right now, where you can toggle the sunspots on and off and then see how that would work on a flat planar surface looking up. Another example is Earth's torus field. Many people strongly believe that there's kind of a toroidal geometry or magnetic field. So I put that shape in the app. And then, for example, if you're on Earth's equator, you see how your perspective grid aligns perfectly to Earth's torus field. So a lot of those ideas are stuff that other people recommend, and I can definitely add in. So anyone who has the app and has feedback for it, I want to do. That's one of the cool things about this.
I really like your attitude. You seem like such a genuine guy. And I know that you've got recently a lot of, what's the expression, stick, and kind of been called a fraud. And I don't see it. Am I dumb? Am I retarded?
Well, it depends who's calling me a fraud. Like, if it's only coming from Globers and they're comparing me to people like David Weiss, that's a compliment. That's a really good compliment. So, like, I haven't really had too much hate from the flat earth community, and the hate I get, as I said, I'm already used to it because I've been in the public Glober groups where you make one post and you have 100 people saying you should kill yourself or whatever. So I'm used to all like the insanity that's out there, and yeah, you know, I'm happy. I like life. Flat earth is fun. I enjoy doing this. So yeah.
Yeah, you seem
so cool.
Your enthusiasm is absolutely genuine. I don't pick up on any malicious intent at all.
Thank you.
In fact, I'd hate to call you the anti-Will Duffy, but that's the word that jumps to mind. If he comes off as suspicious, you come off as absolutely genuine. So it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I try to be open about everything. So, like, even for the final experiment challenges, the Globers didn't publish their stuff, but I put everything on my website, you know, so I try to be as open as I can, and any questions people have, I'll answer it. You can email me, and Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't you quickly, for those who joined late or who weren't paying attention to the opening, tell us the name of the app, the name of your channel, how you get the app, and how you get the books, how you buy the T-shirts if you want to, and just let everybody know that right now, this is the part to pay attention to if you want to like check this thing out yourself.
Yeah, so the Firmament Trackers Flat Earth app is the software that I developed. There's a free app on Google Play. You can test it out, set your location to negative 80 degrees latitude, and experience the 24-hour sun. See exactly what Austin and Jaron did. Then I also run the Flat Earth University, which is free to enroll in. We have FE 101, FE 102, amazing top quality courses that will teach you about Flat Earth. You can take the lectures on your phone, do the quizzes, and yeah, the Flat Earth Science textbook. It's a beautiful hardcover textbook, color pages. We go into a whole bunch of stuff, and it's nice to have. And if you don't want the hardcover, there's the ebook as well, so you can get all that on the Flat Earth University website. So I guess you guys will be dropping links in the chat for people or in the comments later, but the website, you can just search up flatearth.university. We have a .university domain, and then Google Play, just search up Firmament Trackers.
And what is the cost if you want to get the app? So people will know.
The pro version is $12 US. And that includes the multiple observers, the location search feature, the planets, the stars. It has like everything.
So it's
but there's still a lot in the free.
$12 per what?
$12 forever. Google Play.
Forever.
So you can just go to like your new phone, log in with your Google Play account, and download the app again.
So
it
not
works
per
much
year.
the same as no monthly subscription on the Pro app, but there's an academic version. So the version that I use when I make my videos on like my 4K monitor, that is $20 a year. So there's a subscription for that. So if you're a content creator, people like Shane St. Pierre, for example, he purchased that because he doesn't want to use the Walter Bislin anymore. He wants this. So there's many different reasons why people would want different versions. Everyone should get the free version. Many people might want the pro, and other people might want the academic.
All right.
I'm so excited.
Sounds good and sounds very reasonable. It doesn't sound scammy or anything.
Thank you.
And I think that there are people who will say, no, I believe in the infinite plane and there's no dome, or people who will say, no, I've already got a model that I'm in favor of, and this model is, I don't like it. And there's nothing, those people, they, of course, are free to have those opinions. But for those who like what they've seen today, there are ways to get that thing and have it and take a look at it. With David Wise's app, it doesn't take into consideration the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And I know that he does work with a developer, and I know you do stuff too. I know you probably can't speak technically about what could be done, but is there anything that could be added to his app to make it more true to new stuff that we now know?
Just an observer. He just has to plot an observer. That's really it. So Dave's app doesn't have observers.
Okay.
He could absolutely do it.
He probably will.
Would he want to, though? Because you have to remember, his app, though, is more for beginners. It's a social networking tool. There's, like, for example, my app and Dave's app, we don't compete at all. So that's why I'm telling people Dave's app is actually correct. They serve different purposes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. That's similar to Mark using the AE map as it is as a tool to teach people when he goes on shows who want to see a model. Give me a model if it's not the globe. And
someone brand new to Flat Earth, I don't think I'd recommend them download my app. They'd be confused. I got what they're seeing at first. It's not necessarily a beginner's tool where, for example, my mom, I would recommend she might get Dave's app and learn about all these basics, like just seeing the position of the sun as it travels throughout the day and seeing how the moon, like a lot of this stuff we don't get taught in public school, and it's our first time then learning all astronomy, how all this works, and it's a lot of new stuff that can be all at once. There's so much to kind of learn.
Brian Cash in the chat says that he has the free app and he loves it. So
thank you, Brian.
And there's somebody in the chat said infinite plane sounds good to me. It seems reasonable. And someone else says when someone uses the word infinite, you lose me. So that's really the division that we do have with these sorts of thoughts. But what it's about is to not have a belief It's to have theories and to be open-minded and to continue learning. And
the progression
that, I
of
think,
science.
yeah, that is what we are all trying to do. And we do make mistakes, and there's errors, and there's the ups and downs of flat Earth. And right before this whole TFE drama started, it was a bit sleepy in flat Earth Trutherville. And this was the start of the new year or the end of the old year, and a slap in the face. And it kind of woke everybody up, and people are getting more creative. And, you know, people are kind of almost at armed combat at some point. But I think it's going to chill out, and it's going to get better. And your app's pretty neat, and I really like that you came on our show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure to get to present and get to just talk to everyone about this amazing new field of flat earth science. You're right, it's forcing us now to really reevaluate what was kind of stagnant for several years.
Awesome. DJ, you got any?
And it's time to go. Yeah, it's time to go back to school shopping because DJ is going to be enrolling in Flat Earth 101. Ooh, this is exciting.
Nice.
Strange World, let's go to school. Let's get a bunch of people to go and take classes and, be held accountable, grade, and then use it for your Flat Earth, discussions. We don't even have to use the word arguments with our friends and family. Just learn, educate yourself. You're going to get something out of it sounds like. And super excited to have you here, Stephen. Thank you so much for kind of squashing a lot of these questions. And, people can investigate for themselves. And it sounds like whatever they come up with is going to make you stronger, and you're going to work with getting to the truth.
Science always moves forward.
A man of many hats.
Ah, I see what you did there. That's good.
Yes. And if you
Stephen
watch
Alonzo.
Galaxy Quest, I hope you take it with love because Justin Long, he's a great character in that movie, and you are emanating a lot of the flat Earth energy, that passion that he has in the movie, and let's just say he saves the day in a way. So
And everyone should go subscribe, if you liked what you saw anyway, to Stephen Alonzo's channel. It's the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology. So hit the sub, hit the bell all, and there you're good. All right.
With that, we will be back next week. Same flat time, same flat channel. Say goodnight, Patricia.
Good night.
Say goodnight, DJ.
Good night, Strange World. Stay curious.
Say goodnight, Stephen.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning
All right,
in.
stay with us, Stephen. We're just going to play the music in the background. We are drumming out tonight, and then we'll do some debriefing with you after we leave. So here we go.
Fought in many wars, danced our lives away. I wear never been. Wound up chasing stars all over again. There's words for what you got, what you have, and what you'll ever need. There's love so many nights, so many nights, so many ways to believe.
Paige needs to get into her PJs with her cup of cocoa and her 6 marshmallows. Night, Mark.
Mike Jack. Jack.
You realize it's the same link every week. It never changes.
Yeah, I know. I should paste it somewhere, I think.